Yo, yo, yo. Let us know if y'all can hear us. We live, y'all. We back. Episode 28, 2020. We don't got entry music today. Our producer man is at his skate event, y'all. So we ain't got no music today, but y'all know, shout out to Roller Skate Funk. Mike Malloy, Carolina Mike for the intro music. We ain't got it this week, but it will be up on the YouTube. So check it out there. You know, but today we gonna introduce something new to y'all. We got the sports section first. So for all our Real Talk fans, oh yeah, before we forget, we want to say happy birthday to our little sister Desiree. Or Ray
yeah,
Ray.
happy birthday, Ray Ray.
Yeah, she 27 today. Yeah, I told you your age. You 27, I'm 28. She our baby sister, so happy birthday to her. Libra season. Love you. We wanted to say that on the podcast. You know, happy birthday. I'm Rod.
I'm Mike. We ready for another big week.
Episode 28, 2020. And like
my Bears playing right now too, so I'm missing that.
Oh yeah, they playing right now. Speaking of the Bears, what you got that score tonight?
I picked I got Bears losing too. I picked Tampa Bay 27-20.
You a smart guy. I picked Tampa Bay 30.
Yeah, I ain't giving y'all that game.
I picked Tampa Bay 30.
I ain't never going against TB12.
No,
but I hope Bears win though.
I hope 50 on team. We
I don't.
New England this week.
Yeah, we're gonna be 3-2.
And we're gonna be 2-3, one game behind y'all.
New England about to beat y'all. Stop.
I bet you they know. But anyways, I wanted to let y'all know I've been posting on Facebook, talking about it on Twitter, that we got a new element to the show coming because we've been partnering up behind the scenes with High School Sports Network, up and coming High School Sports Network, everything live streaming, highlights, interviews, you know, the whole nine. And what we're going to do is also, we're going to do some brotherly differences, the stuff we do for brotherly differences, where we're going to talk about Minnesota high school sports and let y'all know that we got hoopers here. We got whatever sport, soccer, football, hoopers, you know, we want to put our state on because this is where we at, the Twin Cities. So that's something we're going to do now too. We're going to talk about a lot of Minnesota high school content, so get ready for that. And we're going to start that tonight. And then we're going to give y'all, you know, the regular sports topics that you see that's nationwide. And then we're going to come with the Real Talk section. So it's not like it's 3 different shows. We just want to introduce that that's something we're going to be talking about now is high school sports. You know, and me being a high school coach and Mike being on the high school scene, and then we having a lot of people that we can be that's mentors to us, that's action around the game too. We're going to add that in there and get some of these young players, you know, get their name out there because, man, in Minnesota, there's a lot of unspoken talent out there that people need to know about. You know, so we gonna introduce.
We love basketball. We love basketball. So
and
yeah,
football. Me, I love both. I love both.
I love both too, but basketball definitely.
Well, yeah, ball is life. You know, that's what they say. Ball is life. But you know, so today that's what we're gonna start with, y'all. We're gonna talk about high school basketball, cause you know they giving us a season. So yeah, we definitely finna get into it. But based off the fact that we are getting a season this year, Mike, you know, with COVID happening right now, we're not gonna call it the China disease. We're not gonna go there. We're gonna call it COVID. Based on COVID, my high school sports is gonna be different. Like tomorrow, I'm actually announcing the game here in South, and they said no spectators. Like, how do you think that's gonna be this year for football and for basketball? And you could bring up your experiences as a player, what the crowd did for you, or what you think in general. But how do you think the game's gonna be for both sports without fans?
I definitely think, from a player's perspective, I definitely think it will be different. And the reason I say it will be different because having no fans psychologically and mentally, you would think like, man, this is just like a scrimmage. It don't feel like a real game, even with refs and stuff. So psychologically, it is going to be different from that aspect. And the crowd helps for sure. Yeah. The NBA is doing a great job with the bubble right now because they have the fake crowd and fake noise. So if you do that, that helps. But it's definitely psychologically not seeing people and fans will affect some players. It would have affected me for sure.
You think in a negative way or a positive way?
I think in the negative way, I say the crowd sometimes, because some people get going by the crowd. Some people, the crowd just get you going, help you play better. But real players, like real hoopers, the great players, it'll affect them a little bit, but it wouldn't bother them. So it can be a positive thing. Some people would dominate with or without a gym. If you can play, it shouldn't matter.
I literally thought you was going to answer way different because I'll probably look at it as a coach perspective because player and a coach. For me, I get what y'all said is like a scrimmage, but as soon as they tell me like, okay, as a player, this is what I'm thinking. It's regular season, these games still count. Okay, so I'm playing regardless. Like, I used to be so geeked as a player. Like the night before a game, I have my uniform out, my shoes out, and I go to bed early, like for me, my point is I didn't care who was there. As long as we had a ball in the gym and another team to play against after having all these practices, I didn't care like who was there. But the fans, you're right. Like a Friday night basketball game with the entry music playing and your fans teeing up, that does do something to you. But I'm talking about as a pure player, when you like literally are bro, Puma losing weight, looking good. But that's my guy Levi. He worked at Best Buy.
I do remember.
Yeah, that's my guy Levi. Dang, see, Mike, everybody see you. I told you. Shout out Levi.
Hey, what's the diet, Mike?
Man, working out more, working out more, eating better.
Okay.
Calming down on the bad food.
Shout out to Mike, though, on that fitness. But Levi, a 49ers fan, too. That's my man right there. Yeah, Levi, that's my guy. He always supported. Yeah, the 49ers, he from the Bay. But back to what I was saying. I think that one thing as a coach, I think it's going to be more focused. Because I think sometimes people play to the crowd too much where then I got to call a timeout because now you thinking about the crowd yelling, shoot a three that you shouldn't shoot. Do that one other pass. So I really think now it's going to help players actually get the focus part of the game. I get what y'all saying about the fans, but I think a lot of players, something we didn't get being young is the mental aspect of basketball.
Yep.
And I really think that this year without the fans, they get something on that side of it, like where now you got to become mentally tough.
Yeah,
now,
definitely.
if you get down 10 on your home court, so if we get down 10 at Washburn, now you don't got the fans yelling for you to come back. Now you just got to play basketball and come back. And you just got to play.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, it's a scrimmage. It's scrimmage-like, but it's also like these games matter. And like, we're going to get into that in a few questions, but it's like people are still watching. There's still going to be ways that your game footage is going to be out there, so you don't want to see, you don't want to be lackadaisical and then just act like it's not real. And you don't want to have that excuse, say, well, we didn't have any fans, I can't play. Do I think it'll affect the game? Yes. I think players want to see their friends there, they want to see their family there, because I used to want to play in front of all of them. When y'all came to my games or we went to your games, you like that, you love it.
Also, as a player, I wouldn't care as much.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care because I'd be happy to play.
I
would not want to sit out the season.
You love seeing your family
as a player,
there,
you don't care.
I would love to play, and even though you would love to see your family there, and that's what I'm saying, the players who love to play will love to play, and the players that play to the crowd, I feel like they're the ones as their game is going to get exposed.
Yeah, you got to adjust.
I feel like
you
their
got to
game is going
adjust.
to get exposed, but I feel like, everybody got to adapt this year. Even coaches, we're going to have to adapt, because now the gym is quiet. Now, like I said, this year for me, with my team, communication going to be big.
Yeah.
You got to be able to communicate to be on the floor, because it's like, there's nobody else bringing that energy. So we got to bring that energy and we got to talk to one another. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be affected without fans, but I think it could be a positive for a lot of players if they take this as a learning aspect and adapt it to like the mental aspect of the game versus, hey, I put up 40 in front of my crowd and they went and the crowd snapped and they made a couple players miss free throws. Like, no.
You get used to it. Like, you see the NBA, you can tell they used to it.
And
they used to that.
And you saw it, and I feel like that's a good example. Like, my Heat, and I'm a big Heat fan, by the way, my guy. But Jimmy Butler home.
He not a bandwagon. He telling the truth.
Jimmy Butler home.
He telling the truth.
Jimmy Butler homed in to something because they all was playing for the title. And at first, you remember me, I said, I'm not going to count the bubble. This is a fake title. But even if the Lakers win tomorrow, I'm still counting the bubble because all the players took it serious. LeBron, Giannis, Kawhi, they all said
if any player used the crowd as an excuse, I wouldn't buy it. Just like you said,
I'm saying, and you saw what LeBron them said they didn't care about that.
It does affect you, but you got to deal with it.
About that. They said they only cared about winning the title, so they all played their hardest. Nobody played like they was in the Drew League or nothing like that. They played.
It shows you who's really hoopers though, because if you need the crowd to get you going, then man, you got to work on that game.
So that's probably a good segue into the next topic. Because speaking of hoopers, since we talking about the state of Minnesota, who is their top 10 hoopers to come out of the state of Minnesota? And you can have honorable mentions.
Okay.
There's a lot of them. I'm gonna say my top 10.
I left some names off.
I left a good amount of names off, and
I'm
I don't
gonna
want
be
nobody
mad.
to feel disrespected if they watch this. But the thing is, I got a few names off, but you have a few honorable mentions.
I'm gonna steal that one from you. I'm sorry.
It's so many ballers like my boy on here. I didn't put on here, and I'm going by. I also went by history too. Like of what some old heads told me that I respect and know the game, and that's mentors. So I went by what they said in some ways. But if I had to go by what I saw, like what I saw with my own 2 eyes, then I left some people off. So
I left some people. But you wanna go first? I go.
You can go first.
There's no order. I didn't do no order really, but should I do honorable mention first or my 10?
Do your 10. Your 10 didn't do the honorable mention.
Okay, but my 10. This is no order, but this my 10. I'm sorry if I left you off, and man. Khalid Al-Amin for sure. Khalid Al-Amin definitely. Tyus Jones, definitely.
Ooh, yeah.
Tyus Jones.
Hold on, look at that motherfucker.
No, I had this one. Chris Humphries for sure.
Okay.
Trey Jones up there.
Okay.
I love watching him play. Trey
Ooh.
Jones.
Yeah, I don't think he gets a lot of credit.
He don't. And this name, people will be shocked, but Jordan Taylor, I got to give him credit because I competed against him too. How hard he was to guard. He had a good, successful career at Wisconsin. So I'm going to throw Jayla Suggs in there. I definitely got to throw him up there, man. He was on the national stage too, and yeah, I got to put him up there. Lawrence McKenzie, I got to put, because when I first came up here, he was the first like cold person I saw. So I always get something.
Yeah, remember we was a game here, reverse Richfield.
Lawrence McKenzie, man. His senior year, that was my first year up here. I went to like 3 games. And let's see, who else? And I had to put Royce White on here. Royce White was a beast at Hopkins. He got drafted, man. I really wish he could have played for the Rockets. That would have been nice.
He had a couple good NBA games.
And I'm gonna put my last 2. I'm putting 2 girls basketball players on here, and this one's about to be biased. Taylor Hill.
Yo.
I gotta put her up there just because she went to my high school, but she also dominated.
Yep.
Like dominated, so it's like she gotta be up there. And
Hey,
this
my
one,
man Max is
I gotta
watching.
put her up there because I love the way she passed, and she just graduated. Paige, Beuckers or something. I gotta put her up there because I love her passing was just man. That and her handles, her.
You like the fact she did that Kyrie.
I like her. Yeah, she does like I just love people like that.
So to some of our viewers that's watching, we talking about our top 10 hoopers that came out of Minnesota high school ball. Okay, we got honorable mentions. Mike top 10, just to run down, was Khalid, Tyus, Chris Humphries, Trey Jones, Jordan Taylor, Jayla Suggs, Lawrence McKenzie, Royce White, Taylor Hill, and Paige Beuckers. Or Becker. Is it Becker?
It's Becker.
Paige Beuckers.
And then I'll go with my honorable mention quick and you can go next. Okay. So I'm going to add 3 more. But Rob Messers, I got to put him up there because I watched his highlight tape.
Oh, you went old school. Okay.
I watched his highlight tape and man, Rob Messers definitely up there. Amir Coffey definitely. He's honorable mention. Joel Prisbilla just because he had he was good in high school, but he had a good a decent NBA career. So Matthew Hurt, he graduated last year. I think he was a beast. He was top 10 in the country as a senior. I gotta put Stefan up there.
Oh,
just because I competed against him and stuff. A lot of people probably wouldn't know this. I gotta put him up there. And Lizzie Whalen. I think she's from Minnesota like a few years ago.
Yeah, she
went to like Hutchinson or something. And then the 3 people, I gotta add 2 more. I'm gonna put Rodney Williams and Cole Aldridge, and then I'm sorry, but I forgot about Angel. You know I love passing. And her passing was no joke. So
her passing, her handles.
No, her handles, but that's what made me fall in love with her. But if I forget you, I'm sorry. I know I forget names. Cameron Taylor, I know I forget him. But go ahead and name yours. What's yours?
Well, something that everybody got to agree on in Minnesota. Khalil, I mean, he just was a baller. Like to my height too. Like he was a baller. No, he wasn't my height, but he was a hooper, like point guard for real. Angel Robinson is in my top 10. Like I said, when in that first, me and Angel, it's not being biased. We did work the Carbon camp together like 2-3 years in a row. So I got to know her on a more personal level, working at camp close with her. But before, I was not a big fan of Angel because she beat South in the championship game and she dominated South. Like I'm talking about double domination with assists and the way she scored. I'm like, yeah, she cold. And then the fact that I seen her do that in open gyms against dudes, like yeah, Angel up there, she up there. Then my girl Taylor Hill, Taylor Hill was a beast. Like, she did it from young age on up, and like even her little sisters is cold now. And I work with a couple of them, like they cold now because it started with her and PJ basically, and they got a little brother that's gonna be nice too. Another lady I got to rock with. I work her camp every year. We didn't get to see her play, but I worked this camp with her, Mike, and I'm telling you, when I tell you shooters are always great shooters? She's older now. I'm not going to even say it around her age. She's older, but she's known. She's still stroking. Like, when she be showing the kids in the camp, like, how she just nothing but net. Like, she be hitting, like, 8 jumpers in a row, 10 in a row from, like, out there about a 3. Janet Carvin in Montgomery. She got voted to the Hall of Fame. Went to high school in New York Mills, Minnesota. She was a monster. Went to 4 state championships and won 3 of them. Took 2 different NCAA schools to the Final Four. So yeah, she up there. She a hooper. And like I said, if you ever want to go get your shot right, go to her camp. Like she literally be stroking. I'm not lying. Ask Joe. Like Joe used to, her son trained Joe. Tyus Jones. Tyus was a point guard. You know, like, man, people said he couldn't score. He used to score. My young guys from Tart played against him, and Tyus was just.
I got a question about that. So when people say Tyus isn't nice like that, but he made it to the NBA, what does they say about the people they say is good that didn't make it?
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, and Tyus in the NBA, to me, he's a good, like, complimentary point guard. Like, you bring him off the bench. Or
He another one who got great vision.
If he played next to John Morant, like, they could really be some firepower, him and John. Like, seriously. Like, Tyus, Highland, I was going to bring him up in my honorable mention, Highland, because old school, my coach brought him up to me too, but that's going to be minute Highland. Then I got to bring up Jayla Suggs. You know, I played against some Suggs. You know, Dion, being from St. Paul, I played against a few Suggs. And Jalen is, that kid is something special. I seen him in a tournament. He bouncy, he shifty,
he
everything.
Yeah.
Like, man, he next level. And the sad part is he even cold at football too. Like, he was
a quarterback.
He was a beast at football. Like, that's the sad part about it. Like, he got that in his blood. So, like, yeah. He was some vicious. I saw people arguing about that last year. Like, is he the best to ever come out the state? And, you know, I can't necessarily go there because, like I said, I see a lot of hoopers. But, like I said, he right there with the rest of them. Like, next level athleticism. Chris Humphries, you know, and then he had the Kardashians. You know, he had a solid NBA career.
He probably known for that.
He had a solid NBA career with the Raptors and the Pacers. Chris Humphries was solid.
Played for the Jazz, too.
And the Jazz, he used to get a few double-doubles, but he was a dirty player. Somebody you left
He was
out.
good at the U of M too.
He met him at Best Buy. I came to like his waist. Cole Aldridge was a dog.
Oh yeah, he was on mention.
Aldridge was a dog, and then he was a beast at Kansas. You know, so then, you know, I might have a little bit of Tartan bias, y'all, but he was the lead scorer for years, and he stayed strapped out. Jake Sullivan. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to one of my Tartan brothers, Jake Sullivan. You know, he used to be strapped out, and one of the top scorers ever to play the game. And then they want to stay in 2000, and then who I got to go with number 10.
Suggs about to be a freshman in college.
Paige Beuckers. I got to go with Paige Beuckers. Like you said, she was the total package of everything. You know, she could pass, she could shoot, team player. You know, and then she was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. You know, that speaks for itself.
Yeah,
you know,
I get that too.
Yeah, she definitely is a baller. And Steph Curry even said that she was a baller. Like what Steph said about her. You know, he the point guy.
I'm excited to see her at UConn.
She go to UConn. I'm excited to see how many titles she wins. You know, that's all they do there. But yeah, that's my top 10. Now, honorable mention, Kevin Lynch is one. Okay, Kevin Lynch. I heard a few people say him. Another one we forget, Sam Jacobson.
Ooh.
You know, yeah, I heard he hit work.
Jake went to Iowa State.
Joe Priscilla is one for me. You know, man, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna even say. I even heard, you know, Kevin McHale.
Oh,
Kevin
damn.
McHale.
Yeah, Kevin McHale.
You know, I didn't get to see McHale play, but he was all Minnesota. You know? He was everything Minnesota. Let me see who I'm trying to think in more of our generation. Stefan is up there for me because I never seen.
Yeah, I had to throw a few people I played live.
Yeah.
And also, I'm gonna throw my guy in another tartan night, man. And some people might not even say he wasn't great. Mark Sonnen.
I remember you.
My boy Mark Sonnen. I'm talking about 40-point triple doubles.
He went to Northern Iowa, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about 40-point triple doubles. We came one of the Northern Iowa all-time leaders. And when I'm talking about that,
he played for the East Siders, and that's when I seen him play.
When I'm talking about that dude had everything. Mark Sonnen was strapped up with the shot, defense, handles, rebound, like everything. He played safety and quarterback in football. Like he was just a pure athlete. One game after throwing for like 100-some yards, 200 yards, he had like 25 tackles. Like Mark was a beast. Like real talk, I ain't even riding because he went to Tartan, but Mark up there like from what I saw, you know. And then but then it's a few hoopers up there, man. So if I left anybody out, which I know I did, no disrespect, Royce White is another one. You forget Marcus Williams. He ended up playing in the NFL, but he had
lockups.
Yeah, D. You want to get past that for him. Boy, Anthony Tucker. That's what you play with.
Best shooter. One of the best shooters ever.
That's what I'm saying. Anthony Tucker. So like, you know, Tim Lucky. This dude.
Tim Lucky, Reggie.
No, he talking about Tim Lucky that went to Tartan. Alvin petty dude. Yeah. Hey, Alvin, we ain't know that, man.
We definitely let some people off, but yeah.
Alvin is so funny. But yeah, man, those some of my top hoopers of all time. Y'all got anything?
Man.
Yeah, any names we forget?
Man, you actually did forget a couple names, man. You forgot my man, Allen Anderson, man. I feel like that was kind of disrespectful to leave Allen Anderson off the list.
He was nice too.
Yeah.
He
He can shoot,
He had a torch with the Nets.
That we did leave him off. I told, but I had to apologize.
You forgot, like you said, Cam Taylor.
I had to put him in there. He had a great career with Wisconsin.
Man, I'm a little biased, but Jesse Burton was cold to me too, man. So
South Point guard.
Yeah. So I'm a little.
He was cold. JD was cold. The 90s.
Yeah.
He was cold.
There's a dude named.
He is, I know.
He's
almost 50
now. Like,
he almost 50 and still be dunking.
He cold now.
But Allen Anderson, that was the name. That was kind of like, dang, they ain't mentioned Allen Anderson.
Yeah,
because he went to the NBA. That's killed.
Yeah, that's my fault.
Dang, you right. You see, that's what I'm saying.
Allen Anderson, he was good in the league.
It's so many hidden talents, and then that's the thing. Like Mike said, we came up here like we even saw like I used to think Ray Brown was cold for
Ray was.
Trevor Barkley, This thing is definitely
Jordan Jet, like man, there's a few hoopers. Y'all probably Devin George, that was Augsburg, Terry. I don't think he went to high school here. Yeah,
he went to Augsburg College.
But speaking of hoopers, Mike, how do you think COVID will affect recruiting? And also, High School Sports Network, you know what they do? They do their online streaming, live video, online streaming. How do you think how do you think High School Sports Network is going to come out to give kids the cachet, to show each kid's talent and fair access, like this year by being at the games? And what do you think that COVID will do for recruiting?
Yeah, so he's kind of like.
How can you kind of bridge the gap between High School Network?
Essentially what he's asking is like how is people, you can't send recruits out. So say if you're dominate, they might send a recruit out from like the little Division III colleges. They can't do that no more. So how the recruiter is going to be able to see the talent if they can't come to the games?
Yep. So with that, depends on the restrictions of the game. If they can't come to the games, what's up, Pops? If they can't come to the games, that'll definitely affect recruiting. You would basically have to see it on TV on some type of, and that's where Minnesota High School Network comes in. Where they comes in because the live streaming, you can see the players. They would have to utilize the internet more with just highlight tapes and stuff. They have to look at the highlights, but some coaches like to see actual game footage, so that's where that'll come from. And yeah, you'll have to utilize technology really if you can't come to the game. So that would affect recruiting a lot. Cause I definitely think it would, but. You have to figure it out. So
I was about to say, I got to chime in on this one because this is a big one. This is one of the main reasons I wanted to do it. Like you said, the highlights, you always get to see the good. You don't if you're getting scored on. Of course, I can make myself look like that poster back there. You know what I'm saying? But
we getting the live footage, right? The whole game. So you get to see the whole game, and that's where I was going with it because. As a coach, what I was going to say is the one thing I think was going to affect recruiting is that interpersonal recruiting. And I think what James was going with this is where the live footage will show, because what I mean by that is you might see a kid drop 40, see a kid drop 30. But okay, see if the kid is down one game and 5 for 20 and you don't see their mannerisms or their attitude because you can't come to the game. You can't physically, get in this kid's mentor and see if we want to give him a scholarship or a chance to come here. But if you see this tape, like I said, this is what I go back to earlier when I was saying it's not like a scrimmage.
Chris Carr went to Southern Illinois. Sorry.
This is what I'm saying. You get down by 7 and you start trying to come down on your teammates because you feel like you got 30, you only want to play. Okay, now recruits get to see the whole live footage. They don't get to see how you got 30 that game. Yep. Now they get to see how you behave the whole game. So it's a more interpersonal way of recruiting to me because yes, you need to live stream the game and have a full game because a recruiter is not going to be able to, if they're not able to come in distance with the kid to get to know the kid or be in the stands and see how a kid acts, at certain times in crunch time, or if certain things ain't going your way, because we've had that happen where kids have stormed out or tried to call out the coach in the middle of a game. Yep. And it's like, okay, some people looking at you like, will he do that to me at the college level if that happens? Mm-hmm. So if you only have highlights, you're not going to see that. If you get the whole live stream, coach can kind of, if they honing in on the player, you can be like, okay, let me just see how he is. If they up 20 or down 10 or down 5 or up 5, or let me see, is he always the one going for the ball? Is he always the one that is doing the things that he should be doing? Nobody's watching. And this is a great opportunity for kids to, if they're really about this and this is what they want to do at the next level, this is the easiest way to do it. I feel like in COVID right now this is when nobody's watching, what are you doing in the gym? And the fact that High School Sports Network and have it live stream, puts them ahead of the game. It also helps kids out in a way to want to be on High School Sports Network because this is how you can get seen. This is the true you. You know what I'm saying? No edits, no none of that. This is the game. If the ball was jumped up or whatever they say, inbounded in, it's just as we ain't going to do the jump ball. Probably, I don't know what the case may be. But whatever they going to do, when that ball is in and that whistle's blown, now you get to show your talent.
Yep.
So I don't know. I feel like it's going to affect recruiting, but I feel like they're going to have to use more sites like High School Sports Network because it's live. You know, the highlights will be good and all. That's the glamour part of it. But we want to see live. How are you in the game situation?
Yeah.
Because when you go through the interview process of a coach or a coach to a player to try to get them to come there, that's what they're basically trying to get in your mental and see how are you going to respond if this happened. How are you going to respond if you didn't do so good on the midterm? You still going to pass the class, but you didn't do good on the midterm. Is that going to affect you in practice? Is that going to affect your game? How are you going to respond if you and your girlfriend get targeted? Like, they want to see all that type of stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like this would be a big opportunity for what High School Sports Network is doing.
I agree.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No, I agree for sure.
Because that's what I feel like. Yeah, that's what I really feel like that's gonna be big, and that's why I said, man, some high schools last year had streaming services, which was new to me. Like when we played St. Louis Park, that whole game is still on YouTube. They had their whole little thing there, and I'm like, man, but everybody don't have that, and they only was focusing on this. But High School Sports Network, check out the website, y'all. High School Sports Network, articles on there. They got videos, highlights, YouTube channel. We talking about Paige, and there's even upcoming stars on there that we didn't even mention that y'all can check out on YouTube. So check it out. Like, it's some real Minnesota talent in here. Minnesota got some heat that y'all just gotta check out, and if you check it out, you will see that there's some real heat here. So you want to say anything else to that, Mike? About
no, you said it all, man. I agree with Rod. Look it up, man, and yeah, look it up, and you'll see. If you're really a basketball head, you definitely will want to stay tuned with this. So
well, speaking of that, since we're talking about the top players, let's talk about teams now. I don't know, you said that you didn't follow high school as much, but I know you've been kind of following it through me and like just stuff you've been hearing about. Seeing, I know you know about Minnehaha, how we all do because they're national. But who do you think will be the best team in basketball in Minnesota basketball this year? High school basketball. Who has the most upside? I mean, I would be biased with that second part.
I'm gonna definitely let you answer this, but there's one team that I definitely The reason I'm gonna say Creighton is just because you know how I know Trey.
I saw their last game.
I know Trey.
That was the last game that was played in Minnesota. I was there.
I don't know Trey, but you know I
at Hastings.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be.
Did you see that alley-oop that he almost threw to end the game?
How big is he now? Is he
like 6'1"?
Also, he ain't grew.
Like at the end of the game, this how cocky he boom between the legs, cross. Went through an alley, but they like knocked out of bounds and fouled it. But he threw an alley-oop to end the game.
I saw him from Pop when he was like in 7th grade, and he was like, yeah.
Nasty.
So I'm gonna definitely. I think Creighton is going to be just because of his name. I really don't have a lot of context, but just because of his name, I definitely think he'll be up there. And I'm Minnehaha Academy. I think they still be good. They still got the #1 player in the nation. They number 1,
yeah. They got Hersey Miller. Like,
so yeah, they still gonna be good and stuff. So I'm gonna let.
They got Prince.
Yeah, Prince. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Prince. I know about Prince too. Yeah, him and Trey was going against each other when I first seen Trey. Prince and Trey was going against each other. And
Prince was young then.
Yeah, and I was like, who is these dudes? They were both taller than everybody. They both can handle. Yeah. So, but go ahead. Let me hear because you like I said you in the high school scene more than me, and I want to get in there more.
You know
this year. But
I don't know who's gonna be the best team this year because last year hands down it was Eden Prairie. To me, they was the best team.
Yeah.
They to me, if it was a state like for the best teams across the class, they would have won. So
Eastview was good last year too.
Eastview was definitely good.
And they should be
Shout
good
out to
too.
the Lightning. The Eastview should be back. They're gonna be in my honorable mention, but some of the top schools I gotta go with.
I know they was top 5.
And over the summer, I hooped with a few of these young cats in Edina, but Richfield was going to state. They beat Holy Angels last year in the section championship by about 15, and that Holy Angels team is a good team. I'm gonna tell you that they got a couple athletes on that team of Holy Angels, and the way Richfield handled them and played against some of the top teams like Cooper and Tartan, Richfield held their own versus some top teams last year. Of course, Minnehaha Academy, Chet #1 in the nation overall. Hersey and Mercy, Prince, golly, they got And then, you know, Larry and them, they produce a talent like that's what they do over there. They produce a talent in St. Paul, and then they just working with them inner city kids, and they making them look at education as well too, and then they can hoop. So like, yeah, Minnie High gonna be there. Another school that people need to know about, De La Salle, Kay Haskins. He was an ex-Washburn Miller.
Oh, the shooter. Yeah, he could shoot.
He could shoot. He could do it all. Big 6'5", 6'6" kid. Kay Haskins at De La Salle. They gonna be nasty this year. Like you, Minneapolis North right now on conference. You know, getting the kid Dre from Hopkins and Devon already no problem. And you know what Larry do over there. So shout out to Mackenzie. I mean, that's in our conference, so respect. But yeah, they gonna be a problem too. Creed, like you said, with Trey, man, he's a point guard. Like.
I definitely gotta see more games of him. Man,
like I'm telling you, like if he wanted to score 25 a game, he could in high school. Like he really can. If you want to average 10 assists a game, he really can. He literally gets any and you can't pressure him.
Yep.
You really man-to-man pressure is not gonna work on him. The one thing that East Ridge had going versus them though, East Ridge did have size. And the year before, the year when East Ridge went to state, he couldn't do nothing versus them because they had like 6'6", 6'7", 6'9". So size can deter him, but if you got somebody his size or like if you just an average size team, good luck. Like he nasty. Wayzata, people forget last year Wayzata was injured, so they got off to a slow start, but they beat a few teams on sections last year that people wasn't expecting them to beat. They gave Hopkins.
Oh, they got this sophomore. They got this dude about the sophomore.
No, he's a junior. They best player is a junior.
No, I'm saying, but they got another dude who was about to be a sophomore. He was the first one versus two. I forget his name. Pops sit up there, but I see him play. Oh my!
But I was telling Pops about Camden.
Yeah, what is his name?
Pops didn't know about Camden High. He might be running for Mr. Basketball. For Wayzata, like he a junior now, but I'm telling you, like as a freshman, when I'm telling you, this kid is like 6'8". And he could do everything. When we played against them in section, the first round of section, I'm gonna tell you what he did. He didn't convert the dunk, but look, he got the ball. He swept through, went baseline. Our big man stepped up. There was a guy on him, mind you. He sidesteps him, literally goes up to dunk with one hand, boom, and it missed. It missed. He was a freshman when he did this. I swear to God to y'all, I watched it. And I was like, whoa, who is this kid? Then I saw him play for D1 Minnesota AAU. When I coached for the Suns, I was coaching 17U. He was 15. They was playing in 17U tournaments. Yes, he's a dog. Trey, him and Trey played together at AAU a couple years ago. Camden's a dog. And his size, like I said, he can do everything. So Wayzata, they gonna be scary. And I'm gonna get a small school some love. Caledonia and Waseca. I saw both of them play last year. I
saw Caledonia was top 10 last year.
Yeah, and they beat North. They beat North twice in the Christmas tournament. No, they beat North in like a tournament, and then they beat North in the regular season game. Cause I saw them play versus Maranatha last year at Burnsville. We was at the Southside Classic, and they had a point guard. He was like chubbier, but he was like 6'4". And this dude was backing people up. They couldn't do nothing with him, fading away. And then he diamond off. They had like a 6'10" dude dunking. Like, they was nice. They could beat a couple 4A schools. And Waseca, they had this dude, I think his name like Eli something, or that might be the Caledonia dude. His name is Eli Thomas.
I forget about Park
Waseca
Center.
got a blonde hair.
You read my mind.
Park Center,
That's who's gonna win it. I was thinking, I'm like, they didn't say Park Center.
But they lost Josh Brown, they lost Dane.
But they got some guards, man. They got some people that was in the wings, and I've been covering them. Trust when I say Park Center is nice. I think they're better this year than they was last year.
That's what I heard.
They was top 10 last year.
I heard they had a junior last year that wasn't getting a lot of tips last year.
They was 11, they was top 15.
Because my assistant coach, his son played for he used to coach the athletics teams, younger traveling teams. So he knew a few of those kids is on a high school team now. And I forget the kid name, it started with a D, but he's a junior. He was a junior last year, and he said this kid was a beast.
Yeah.
And he didn't even get that much shine because Josh and Dane was
exactly.
there. Yeah, so Park Center. But my honorable mentions was Eden Prairie because, like I said, they're well coached, and they got young talent coming up through the ranks. Eastview, our twin brothers go there, and they still got size at Eastview, and they gonna be good. Shakopee is another one. They're my honorable mention. They always just play tough, hard defense. Like I ever since when I was a player, Shakopee was a team that I hated playing because they just was tough. Hopkins, of course.
Hopkins always.
This don't throw y'all for a loop. North St. Paul Polars. I know this is gonna be crazy and Tarn Tight saying that, but last year I'm gonna tell people this. North won that division. They went undefeated in that division. They swept Tarn, but Tarn beat them in sections because Tarn got the home game. I'm not saying that's the only reason Tarn won, but North should have got that home game because North was 20-8 but 7 of North losses was teams that was top 9.
Yeah, and they start off like 0-6, right?
Because they played
Eden Prairie,
Eden Prairie.
Yup,
they played Creed.
Creed, yup, they had a real hard start.
Oh, so they was playing a tough stuff.
Yeah, their first.
But what I'm telling you is that when they got to come, they beat Turn twice. That never happened when I was in North. Never beat us. And they know that. Even you Polish, Kyle White, David Wyatt, y'all know y'all never beat us. Y'all know that. And North beat no Turn in the season. North
Time change.
This boy's over there
10 years
playing.
removed.
I'm 10 years removed, but North know they never beat us.
You have a 10-year reunion? This was COVID. Never
It's
mind.
COVID, yeah, COVID happened. But they know. They know they never beat us at football. That's a different story. But basketball, they know. And then they did us go to state like 3 years ago. North, they got a nice young coach over there.
For the season, man.
North St. Paul, I'm gonna give them some love though. I'm gonna get it, and I'm gonna give Turn some love because last year, like I said, Coach K, they put a beat on us last year at Washburn. But who got the biggest upside? You probably got to be around a little bit more this year. But I'm gonna just
Tino Grace. That's never mind.
Oh yeah, that freshman.
Tino Grace, they had that freshman. Thanks, Pops. Yes, Tino Grace, he got a sophomore. You already
know. You already know what I'm Camden. That's what we talk. That's why I said Camden High from Wayzata.
Camden from Wayzata. Tino Grace got a sophomore.
Yeah, you told me that.
Got that
he
work.
Black dude, ain't he, or a mix?
He a mixed kid. He like 6'3", can do whatever he wants.
But biggest upside, I'm gonna just let y'all know it's us Miller boys. Like seriously, last year we lost some. Ooh, battery running low. What?
Central.
Oh, you guys didn't have a plug in?
Yeah.
Last year.
It got to be in there.
Our producer man.